Have you ever hit a moment in your marriage where you thought, I can't do this anymore? Not, I'm annoyed, not, we need a date night. I mean, a deep, tired, overwhelming feeling where you feel like you're just running out of gas. You don't have the strength to keep doing this. And you're starting to wonder if giving up would hurt less than staying. Well, if that's where you are, this message is for you. In the next few minutes, I want to give you a Bible verse that God can use to steady you when you feel like you're at the end. And then I want to give you some practical steps that you can use to put this into practice. If we haven't met, I'm Kelly Dupay, your Christian marriage coach and author of the acclaimed book, Turn It Up, How to Have the Lifelong Marriage That You Really Want. I help couples avoid the pain of divorce and build a marriage God wants for them, practically, biblically, and with real hope and faith. I spoke recently with someone who was so hurt and so angry about the way their spouse had treated them that they just kept saying, I can't do this anymore. And as I listened, I thought of a Bible verse. Actually, I think God prompted it to me in my spirit. It's Hebrews 6:12. That's the verse that came to my mind. Not because I wanted to dismiss their pain, not because I wanted to say try harder, but because I've learned something about that moment, the I can't do this anymore moment. Sometimes that sentence is a cry for help. Sometimes it's grief. Sometimes it's exhaustion. Sometimes it's fear. And very often it's the moment when the devil tempts us to stop believing that anything good can still happen in your marriage. So don't let your pain or the devil talk you into quitting too soon. Because here's what Hebrews 6:12 tells us: to imitate those who through faith and patience inherit what has been promised. Before I unpack this verse for you, let me say something clearly. If you're in danger, if you don't feel safe in your marriage, maybe you're being threatened or experiencing abuse, well, the first thing I want you to do is be safe. Okay, your first step is safety. So get some help, get support, and get to a safe place, because those things are never okay. But if you feel safe, but things are just not working out in your relationship, well, it's understandable to think that you can't take it anymore, and you feel like you'd be better off leaving your spouse. Well, if there's deep pain and discouragement, and you're trying to decide what your next step should be, please stay with me to the end of this video, because I think this is really going to help you. And if you'd like to get more teaching like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell so that you can be notified when I post. So let's take a look again at Hebrews 6:12. It says, we are to imitate those who through faith and patience inherit the promises of God. Did you know that God has promises for your marriage? And those things happen in your life as you stand in faith and walk in patience, not through pretending, not through denial, not through perfection. So faith and patience. Now, when you're in the I can't do this anymore season, it helps to get clear on what you're actually fighting for. So let's take a look at the promises that God has for your marriage. I can think of three that I want to encourage you with. Genesis 2:24 says, this is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. God's vision isn't for two roommates sharing a house. It's oneness, spiritual, emotional, and physical. And he also promises in Amos 3:3, it says, do two walk together unless they have agreed to do so? So he wants your marriage to walk in agreement. A strong marriage isn't just about avoiding conflict. It's about learning how to walk together and getting to that place of agreement where there's shared direction and teamwork. And then I also love Ephesians 4:3, which says, make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. So notice it says make every effort. Unity doesn't happen automatically, especially after hurt. But God calls us towards a kind of unity that is held together by peace, not pressure. So these are the promises that God has for you: agreement, oneness, and unity. And by the way, if you'd like to improve the communication in your marriage, I have a free couples communication guide. Just click on the link in in the description, and I'll send you the link so that you can order yours. So now let's define what Hebrews is really calling us to, because the verse says you inherit what's promised through faith and patience. Well, faith is more than just positive thinking. Faith, I believe, is expectation. What do you expect God to do when you pray? If you expect God to bless, if you expect God to strengthen and help you and restore, that's faith, because that is His will for you. As it says in Malachi, God hates divorce. Now, He doesn't hate divorced people. So what is His will? Well, His will is that you have a great marriage. And I want to encourage you to have faith and expect Him to bless your efforts and bring that about. And if you don't expect His blessings, well, that's doubt. So one of the most important questions you can ask yourself is this: what am I expecting God to do in my marriage right now? Now, patience is staying in the process long enough for God's work to take root. Patience is refusing to make a permanent decision in a temporary storm. Patience is continuing to do the right things, especially when you don't feel like it and maybe when you're not seeing any results from it. But here's the key: faith and patience work together. Faith says God can do this. Patience says God will in His time, and I'm going to stay in this place and be faithful while I wait. Now, let me explain how this works. If you're saying I can't do this anymore, I want to give you some simple steps to take. I call them the ABCs of faith and patience. So A is for admit and ask. Step 1 is to admit you need help and ask God for help, because some of the strongest prayers are the simplest ones. Lord, I need you. God, please help. Lord, help me not to quit. Show me what to do next. And here's the promise that we stand on. I love this. 1 John 5:14 and 15 says, this is the confidence we have in approaching God, that if we ask anything according to His will, He hears us. And if we know that He hears us, whatever we ask, we know that we have what we have asked of Him. So the first thing to do is come and admit you need help. And then ask yourself, what is God's will? And then ask according to His will. And as I stated, His promises are unity, agreement, and oneness. So ask Him for that, because that's what God wants to do. You're not just talking into the air. You're asking a Father who hears and who will answer your prayers. Now, B is for believe, and believe is another word for faith. Hebrews, once again, says we inherit what's promised through faith. Well, faith isn't pretending it doesn't hurt. Faith is deciding God can work here, even if I can't see it yet. Jesus said this in Mark 11:24. Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. So here's a practical way to put this into practice. Believe that God can soften hearts. Believe that God can give you wisdom. Believe that God can rebuild what is broken. Now, C is how we activate our faith. A is ask and admit you need help. B is believe. C is for confess. This is how we stay strong while we're waiting and practicing patience. We confess what we expect God to do. And another way to say that is you got to thank God for it before you see it. You got to dance in advance, because what you keep saying shapes what you keep expecting. Proverbs 18:21 says that death and life are in the power of the tongue. So are you speaking death or are you speaking life? Instead of confessing, nothing will ever change. We're too far gone. This isn't going to work, or I'm done. Well, try confessing this. God is with us. God is going to answer our prayers. We can take the next step. God is going to show us what to do. Healing is possible. We're going to learn how to walk together again. You're not denying reality. You're choosing words that agree with faith. A few years ago, I came across a quote attributed to Henry Ford that says this: "The man who says I can't and the man who says I can are both right." Which one are you? No, I'm not saying your marriage is going to be fixed by a slogan, but I am saying this. What you keep agreeing with in your mind will shape what you do next. And don't forget what God also tells us. Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So I want to encourage you to thank God in advance for what you want him to do. And then continue to tell yourself, I can do it. Not in my own strength, but through Christ who's going to give me the strength to do this. Now, D is for do. So we have ask and admit you need help. B, believe. C, confess. D is do. Do what God tells you to do, because patience doesn't mean passivity. James 2:17 says that faith, if it's not accompanied by works, is dead. So what's one thing you can do this week? Maybe it's to schedule a free call with me so that I can give you some strategies and ideas and show you what to do next and allow God to lead you. Or maybe it's putting something into practice that you know you already need to do, like apologizing for the way you reacted or for the tone that you took when you confronted. Or maybe it's just asking, hey, when can we talk, and set a time to do that. Maybe it's learning to calm down. Or maybe it's putting a boundary in place that protects your peace. You see, faith takes action. You cannot just thank God in advance. You need to do something about it. Now, if you're the spouse who's saying, I can't do this anymore, I want you to hear this. That sentence doesn't have to be the end of your story. Instead, imitate those who through faith and patience inherit what has been promised. And like I said, if you want some help applying this to your specific situation, I'd love to invite you for a free 30-minute strategy call. Just use the link in the description. And if you'd like more on this topic, check out the video that's on the screen about how to invite God into your marriage. And I'll put the link to that also in the description. Well, that's it for now. May God bless you, and may God bless your marriage. Bye-bye.